Report mic check 2. right, we're going to call the meeting to order. The meeting has been noticed to Evans Print and Media Group, WCOW Radio, Magnum Radio, La Crosse Tribune, Sparta City Hall, and Sparta Free Library. Mr. Russ, are there any changes to the agenda?
I do not have any changes to the agenda.
Thank you. With that, I request a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion from Mr. Hendricks. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Ms. Behrens. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. If everyone would stand and please face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Mr. Russ, if you could please announce our Sparta Area School District mission statement.
Yes, to educate all students academically, emotionally, and socially to inspire curiosity and resilience.
Thank you for that. Public input tonight.
I'm sorry,
go
before
ahead.
public input, I
Yeah.
do want to let everybody know that Collins Burns Gilbert is joining us virtually. Colin, good evening.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And then as far as public input, one versus the other, want to go first or second? I guess Mr. Gene True, if you'd like to go first. You have 3 minutes. Mr. Russ will let you know when your time is getting close. If you just want to make sure the green light's on, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. I wanted to address the referendum. The little that I know is what I read in the paper, you know, and obviously from the survey, the 87 million. You know, I understand that we have needs in a district, and I'm sure we have needs for the 750. But I would ask that the board would consider doing what we need to do. 87 million is a staggering number, and it's even more staggering when you consider that with the interest over the term of the loan that it's north of 140 million that we have to pay back. The other thing that I would ask of the district and the school board is that you would show full transparency and disclosure. How things are packaged to the taxpayer can be misunderstood and may not be intentional that anybody's trying to deceive anyone. You give out factual information. For example, when I look at my current tax bill, nearly 70% of my tax bill of the school portion went to debt service. That debt will retire at some day. But then to package it and say that and benchmark off from what we currently have on this current tax bill and to say that it's going to go up 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, 1,000, may be a factual, but Joe consumer has a car payment and he pays the car off and he goes out and buys a new car. He could say, well, I'm just replacing the old debt with a new one. Or he could say, I'm not going to buy a new one and I don't have a debt. With that being said, if this is $2, $3, $4 per thousand assessment, that number needs to be communicated to the taxpayers. So if it's going to cost a $100,000 home, it's going to cost $350 more a year, they should understand that number. Not, so hey, listen, I voted for the Herman Elementary referendum, and I thought it was a great idea. We're just replacing the old debt with the new one. Your taxes aren't really going to go up, and after all, we're going to get back, well, I think it was 80% from the state, and all that is true. But when we deviate from that plan, and then we find out numbers are different, but let's show full disclosure, full transparency, and let's do what we need to do, and let's meet the needs of this district. I love this community, and I appreciate what all of you do. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. True. And then Mr. James Rasmussen, same thing, 3 minutes. Make sure that light is green, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm going to speak just a little bit on the in and out enrollment. I assume that's what I can't answer the question, but I see enrollment, open enrollment is on the list, item C, and I assume it's the in and out enrollment. But anyways, I wanted to speak to the fact that I have quite a bit of experience with it. And for years, this thing was running at about 3 to 1, and it has been ramping up and ramping up and ramping up. And it has always been a concern of mine, but for some reason, it always got lost in the shuffle. There was a strategic plan. I went through 2 or 3 of those. Long-range facility plan, team building, teachers' compensation model. I went through 2 of those. We get caught up in all these other things, and this in and out enrollment problem just goes away until the new numbers come out. And the new numbers now are staggering. It looks like we're in the range of about 10% of our student population, at around 350, is enrolling out. I'm glad that it is on here. However, when I think about the last time that we engaged this, or I did, was when we were going to referendum 2 years ago. And basically the comments I was hearing from some of the other people around me was, we need to get this referendum going. We can take care of this in and out enrollment stuff later. Later never came. Later never comes. So I'm asking you guys, this Board of Education, to make this a priority. I know it's on here, is listed as a priority, but I mean, something that is going to be taken very serious, that you are going to put a team of people on to dig into this and come up with the answers. I know it's not going to be easy, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but we need to start. Next year could be, I hope not, but it could be worse. So with that, thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Rasmussen. All right. Any other public input? I just received the 2. That correct, Mr. Russ? Okay. All right. With that, we'll move to item 2A, Board of Education meeting online viewership. Mr. Russ.
All right. Ms. Wilcox wanted to be here but had a family commitment that she couldn't make it, so I said I would give that presentation for her. So on your screen right now is the number of views for each of our past board meetings. The Board of Education in August said that we were going to view, we were going to stream and post our meetings, both in English and in Spanish. So these are the number of views from that time. The November meeting has not been applicated on here because at the time of this presentation we didn't know how many total clicks there were because it's still going. But as you can see, initially the number of English views, this is just total. And as time goes on, more clicks come on. People want to go back and review, so they are a little bit more clicks. But once again, the data was collected until November. Next is the average time that someone goes to a video and spends on it. So just because there's a click there doesn't mean that the whole video is watched. YouTube is where we post things and they get the analytics. So this is the average length of the videos that people viewed. As you can see, the one meeting on October 11th, I believe, was our annual meeting, and that had the longest duration of time, about 25 minutes. And then when you get to the Spanish average duration, it drops down substantially according to the data. And once again, the data is collected through the end of November. Peak viewers. So this is the number of times that the most people at one time viewed the film. So as you can see, the peak viewership was in March 13th, 2023. And in March is when we started talking a little bit before the referendum, I believe. And then we started talking about possible budget scenarios and that sort of thing. Am I in the right year? Nope, that's not the right year. I believe that's just the budget scenarios in that. But at one time, we had 24 people viewing at one time during that time. It doesn't mean that there was only that many, but that was the peak viewership. And I did ask Ms. Wilcox about the last peak membership when we talked on the Committee of the Whole in December, and that was 9 peak viewers at that time. Yes. I am? I apologize. Thank you, Dave, for picking me up. So then it goes to, there we go. The released videos, the average views per meeting and the average duration. So on the recordings, the average for the released in the English, the 22 average meetings, 22 people went there for an average of 4 minutes. When you go to the Spanish version, the average viewer was 13 and the duration was 0.6 minutes. So really not viewing that in duration at all. And then the average peak viewer is 7. And once again, these are all from the previous slides that give us the average of the released videos, both in English and Spanish. So we give in that. And then the costs. The cost for 32 minute meetings so far, it's $5 per minute, and that gets us both an English and a Spanish translation. If we did not do the Spanish translation, it would be $1 a minute. The $1 does guarantee it to be ADA compliant. The board decided to do the English in ADA compliance. YouTube does have a version of that, however, it's not guaranteed ADA compliant, and the board said we wanted to make sure that our Spanish-speaking families have that access as well. So for the $5 would be the total per minute for both. We have looked at other companies, and they range from $4.50 to $11 per minute, depending on what we want to do. So. And the total cost to date, that is not including the December meeting, is about $19,500 for that. Is there any questions on our online viewership?
Questions or comments from board members? Sam, I'm wondering if you could, if you are aware what other school districts around our area are doing.
Yeah. Toma is the only one that does not stream meetings. Bangor, West Salem, Holman, and Onalaska do. Those are the chart that I have. We are the only ones who pay for closed caption service and in multiple languages as well. The rest of them use YouTube, and they use that YouTube closed captioning as their default, and no Spanish translation or anything like that. The YouTube, it does very clear say that that's not 100% ADA compliant. They do the best they can depending on the audio feed and that sort of thing.
And as far as I understand, they haven't dealt with any lawsuits or anything.
Not to my knowledge.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members? Go ahead, Mr. Hendricks.
We've discussed this quite a bit, and I think we all agree to the importance of making this type of service available if we want to encourage more community participation and awareness. But given the statistics and the really the low participation in the recorded video portion of it, my suggestion would be that we set a goal for the coming year or the coming 6 months to raise that average duration per meeting for the released videos. And if we don't meet that goal, then we just rely solely on the online viewership and not continue to invest in the recorded and the translated versions. But that would be my suggestion. Not that we cut it off now, but that we set a goal and say, hey, we've got to bring this up to an average of 10 minutes per viewer or something like that. And if we don't reach it, and in the meantime, maybe we need to do a better job of advertising that it's available and do a little bit more outreach. But if we don't improve this average, I just don't think it's worth the investment.
See, and actually, I was going to go a step further, and Mr. Gonke, you might be able to help me with this. But as far as I understand it, right now you're live streaming on YouTube, correct? Once the live stream is done, you could post this video immediately, correct? Like you could end the recording and post it to YouTube immediately?
We could do that, yes. Ms.
Okay.
Wilcox could do that by morning.
So again, my thought process is, you know, I mean, we're trying to be as transparent with the community as possible. We could eliminate the $19,546 altogether and use the default closed captioning of YouTube and post the video tomorrow morning and have it available to the community, correct?
We could do that. I just want to caution, this is a report only.
No, I know. Oh,
Yep.
no,
but yeah, so if we wanted to do anything,
action.
January
Right.
would be the opportunity for a goal or to revisit how we do it. January, we could put in an action item on the committee of the whole
Yeah,
as well.
so-
I just want to caution and make sure that we're
Yeah.
not making any decisions tonight.
But no, so I'm just saying, essentially, we could continue recording, we could continue posting, reduce the entire cost of it, and still make it available to the community and use the default, just reduce it by $19,000. So just a thought, something to think about, and we can, again, if that's interest, we can do that as a board. Any other comments from board members? Go ahead, Ms. Lopez.
Thank you for that, Mr. Schulze. Whether we keep the $5 per minute ADA compliant English and Spanish translation, go with the $1 per minute English ADA compliant closed captions, or just post it and allow YouTube to continue, or allow YouTube to do the translations that are not ADA compliant. Regardless of those choices, I think we must continue to post these and have these videos available for our constituents afterwards. And then should someone have a need for a Spanish translation or something, then we would be able to provide that as we would any ADA request. I cannot tell you how many times I would have people reach out to me and say, where's the video? It says the live stream has been removed by the host, or the video has been removed by the host prior to us posting these on YouTube later. I have people saying also, why is it taking so long to get posted onto YouTube? But they're glad that it's on there. So that's just my 2 cents on that matter tonight. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from board members on this matter?
I got one thing to add there.
Go for it, Mr. Burns-Gilbert.
Yeah, I just appreciate the conversation and looking at this data too. This is really helpful. I think one piece that definitely want to have future conversations, but want to also see kind of how we are sharing the new tool with our Spanish-speaking communities and some of the different local businesses and pockets of families that we can connect with. How has that been shared? Just want to kind of revisit what we've done and similar to what's been said, maybe make some more informed steps moving forward in those paths to kind of make it more helpful for everybody. So thank you.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Mr. McKenna, go for it.
Yeah, I just have one thing to add, and I'm going to piggyback a little bit on what John said. We can make the best decisions, community-focused, trying to drive the district forward as we possibly can on this stage, and if no one knows, it's kind of like the tree that falls in the forest and nobody hears it. I don't know that I really care which version we go with, but let's put it out there and let people know what's going on. I don't know that one post on the Sparta Area School District Facebook page is enough, and I think that's all I've ever seen is one post back when we first started this. Could we have links to it every time we have a meeting, the way that athletic events do? Could we put things in the paper along with our meeting posting that has the link available and the time it would be live and when it would come back? I think there's more that you can do to get activity on this. As hard as it is to get people to meetings and tying it into our priority goals down here, I hate to just cut it off. I think we have to have something, and no matter what we decide, we have to let people know what it is and how to use it.
Thank you for that. All right. Moving on to item 3, the consent agenda. Everybody could just take a moment, go ahead and review that. And if we don't have any further discussion or comments on that, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All right, I have a motion from Ms. Lopez. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Oh,
A second from Mr. Wells. Any further discussion on this item?
I think there was a stipulation to us seeing the stacking thing.
Right. There you go. Love it. All right. Roll call.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks? Yes. Ms. Behrens?
Yes.
Mr. Schulze?
Yes.
Ms. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Burns Gilbert?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 4A, discussion and possible action to approve an operating referendum in the amount of $750,000 for 2 years in April of 2024. Mr. Russ.
Yes, this was coming out of the Committee of the Whole, and before I continue, I do want to let everyone know that Clint Selly from Bray is here, and Jason Plant is also here from Markin and Johnson to answer any questions or anything like that that may have as part of our team. Coming out of, I just had two slides that we wanted to add. And once again, I want to thank Ms. Hauser for putting all the data together and moving forward this process to make sure everyone's as informed as possible. This is the example of the spreading of the funding over 4 years for a successful April $750,000 operating referendum. We did talk about the use of fund balance to lessen the amount of reductions, but even with a $750,000 operating referendum, we would look at having reductions in the upcoming year with the use of fund balance. The next slide I wanted to share is the same slide that we used before. If we did not have a successful operating referendum in April or did not go to referendum in April, one way the board could reduce the amount of expenses reductions is the use of fund balance. In this case, it's almost 2.4 million, and that would pretty much drain our fund balance down to that 18%, and we'd still have about $1.5 million worth of reductions. So, pending any questions or anything like that, Mr. Schulze, we're up for discussion and possible action.
Questions or comments from board members on this item? Mr. Hendricks, go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize for not being in attendance for the Committee of the Whole when this was discussed in detail. My question is the example referendum questions, ballot questions that were shared had the operating referendum for 3 years and not 2 years. Was there some discussion about having it for 3 years?
We had discussions over 2 or 3 years, the pros and cons of that. The sample resolutions that was shared with the board are just sample resolutions. That was done prior to the December 8th meetings or anything like that. It was just to show the board sample ideas about what we could possibly do with, based on what the information is, the direction of the board. So that could change, but tonight it is just basically setting the direction. If the board decides to move towards a possible referendum, we would bring back in January the official language or ideas that the board could look at. So the action tonight in 4A or 4B is just giving official guidance to the administration to get those resolutions, because nothing's official until the board adopts those resolutions and we upload those to the DPI. So this is just more of a, this is what we're going to do, and then we'll come back and bring ideas for those resolutions.
So what I'm hearing is we may support the operating referendum, but we're not necessarily setting the duration.
We would be looking for the amount and the duration to move forward so we could get those resolutions more final for the board.
So actually, during the committee, we talked about 1 through 4 years, and ultimately we came down to the 2-year amount, and that was what we decided on in the committee meeting.
Okay, and I'll support the 2-year, but I would also like to say I would certainly support a 3-year.
do you want to just give a little, the reason we went for 2 years to get to the next biennium, do you want to give a little background as to why you're thinking 3?
Sure. These referendums are a lot of work, and I think at some point there's fatigue in the community for going back to them often, and as long as we're moving in that direction, certainly that need is not going to go away. So that's just my personal opinion.
I think part of it too, when we were talking, was the thought process of a 1.5 million over 2 years compared to a 2.25. When we were looking at a holistic view of how they were saying money, am I right in that? I mean, that was kind of part of the discussion process. I don't know how big of a deal that really is or not. I think it was just looking at the perspective from my standpoint, was getting through the biennium and getting into that next budget cycle.
Yeah, we talked about the unknowns of the next biennium cycle. This is the operating over 3 years. That assumes the $325 per pupil, which shows that we're still looking at about $1 million in reductions over 3 years and draining our fund balance. With the new biennium budget, possibly, and then, in Act 141 going away, and the potential to get up to additional revenue is something that may happen. The last biennium was an $11,000 low revenue ceiling. If by chance that bumps up to $12,000 per child, that's a big bump, and that may change what we need in that 750. I'm not saying going away, but that'll be a lot less of what we need. So the discussion was around the biennium budget. We'll know that, so we'll actually know what the second year in the biennium budget would be. But that's what 3 years would be. We're looking at about $1 million each year, pending the approval of using fund balance as well.
And Mr. Ross, please correct me if I'm wrong, but administration's recommendation was for 2 years, correct?
Yes, my recommendation is 2 years. It keeps fund balance, and we know a little bit more in regards to the state budget. I understand we have voter fatigue, which is something that we've discussed, but I think 750 is what we need right now. Will the need still be 750 in 3 years? Time will tell, because it may be more, it may be less.
Further discussion from board members? Mr. Hendricks, were you done? I didn't mean to. Okay, all right, just want to make sure. Ms. Lopez, go ahead.
Thank you. So, Mr. S., you said that this is what we need, and I would just like to remind anyone listening that even with the as you said before, even with the $750,000, we will still be making significant cuts and be using fund balance. Constituents have mentioned to us that we need to ask for what we need and not what we want. So the 750 is a compromise there, and it's the number that we chose because it was the number that the community said in the survey that they would be likely to support. But it's not what we need.
We could, based on the information, we could use an additional $1 million more without making reductions. Once again, it's without making reductions. We tested 750 because that was a number in our district that we have always did. We passed. We tried the 2.1 and failed by a small margin. So we thought 750 going into it would be the appropriate ask. But as we talked about, we're still going to have to be making budget reductions while using fund balance, which we heard from the community. We have it. Let's use it. So that's one idea. And once again, this is just ideas for the board. Did you guys do the TV out there? Did the TV go out here? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Further discussion from board members? Go ahead, Mr. McKenna.
Yeah, I think I'd like to just reiterate the fact that I don't believe 750 is what we need. I think 750 is what we can make work without massive amounts of pain. I think it's normal. Last couple of years with the way cost of living has gone up, that people are using savings, and that's basically what us using fund balance is. I don't like it. I do like spreading it over 4 years better than using it all in one. If we didn't have a past referendum, we really don't have a parachute at all after next year. So this is what we need. We have to have a past referendum. And I'll speak to John's, 2 years, 3 years. I really am good with whatever the administration is good with. I know there are costs involved with being on a ballot. I know you're right, there is voter fatigue. The only reason that I would even entertain going shorter, I don't want to change the 750 this year because it's what was on the survey and what we have support for. But if we went shorter this year, if we went 1 year, we could go for a larger amount next year. That shows we need it. Could we go 750 this year and 1.25 or 1.5 next year? I'm not saying that's the way we want to go, but that would be the only reason that I would think of going shorter than the 2 year.
Thank you for that. Any further discussion from board members?
I can add some piece.
Go for it, Mr. Burns Gilbert.
Yeah, I think from my lens, the operating referendum right now is kind of that piece of how we take care of our people and the programs, and right, like the staff and the students and families. That's they're going to feel that impact right away. And I think knowing that, kind of talking through those different variables last week and reading through some of the different pieces, to me, it makes a lot of sense to put that on there in April. I like the 2 years because of that biennial budget alignment. And then I think if we can articulate maybe a long-term operating referendum plan, I would definitely be open to expanding down like 3 or 4 years. I was possibly going to recommend a 4-year tonight, but I'm still leaning towards 2 years just because of that uncertainty down the road. But it isn't going away. And so I think that's how can we articulate that need now, but also project into the future so the community can understand if we're going to keep passing $750,000 referendums for the next 20 years, we're going to get further behind the districts next to us. We're going to get further behind, right, some of the people that we're competing with to be the best community, the best school district in the area here. So I think not putting it on this April referendum would be a mistake. I feel like it articulates that value. And also, right, will hopefully help set us up down the road for when we need maybe a larger ask, or maybe when we need, if the biennial budget goes the other direction and we have to make more cuts than projected, right? Like that's also a very real possibility. So, yeah, that's I think the operating referendum. I can make a motion if there's no more discussion, but I would definitely support putting that on for this April for 2 years.
Mr. Burns Gilbert, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll make that motion to. How is it?
Do you want me to? To approve an operating referendum in the amount of $750,000 for 2 years and to be placed on the April 2024 election ballot.
Yeah, I'll make that motion. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't have that.
700. Okay, so what it would be the amount of $750 for each year for the duration of 2 years.
For the duration of 2 years on the April 2nd, 2024 ballot.
Miss Margren, how you doing over there? All right. Mr. Burns Gilbert, how does that sound?
Yep, that's how I would have said it.
All right, so I have a motion from Mr. Burns Gilbert. Do I have a second?
I second that.
I have a second from Ms. Lopez. Any further discussion on this topic? So really everything that was stated here, I feel strongly in favor of the 2 year. I think getting to that biennium and seeing what the next budget is going to be is really, really important for when we make those next decisions. So yeah, I'm in full support of this for the next 2 years. No further discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Schulze,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Ms. Behrens,
Yes.
Mr. Burns Gilbert,
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 4B, discussion and possible action to approve a capital referendum in the amount of $87 million in 2024. Mr. Russ.
Yes, this is the recommendation from the committee. It had $87 million for the amount in 2024. It was not specifically stated April or November or anything like that. So this is one of the questions the board is going to have to tackle. I don't think I'm overstepping my bounds saying that I think we all agree that we have facility needs. However, last committee, or the committee of the whole, it was asked what our priorities are: facility or capital or operating. Operating is our main concern, and we're very happy that the board 2 years, 750 moving forward, and we'll bring that resolution to ideas for resolution coming to the January 8th. So now it comes to, do we go? When do we go? If we go in April, or basically, I think April is the question now with this facility. So I know we've talked a lot about giving you information, but we don't have any specific slides on these. So Mr. Schulze, just open up for discussion.
All right. Any questions or comments from board members at this time? Go ahead, Mr.
Well,
Hendricks.
just so I'm clear.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is to entertain a motion to have a referendum, but we're not mentioning the date at this time. Is that?
So it's time to make a decision on the date.
It is time to make a
Yeah.
decision on the date.
So here's the thing. We're trying to decide if it should be on the April or the November ballot.
Right.
And I think that we need to have some discussion on what the best time is for that.
Well, as long as I've started to talk, I'll continue. I'm weak on doing this and running both of them in April. We've stated over and over again that the operating referendum is critical for us, and while I think there's, the possibility, maybe a likely possibility, we could pass both. I'm not that much of a gambler, and I always, my mantra is don't gamble more than you can afford to lose, and I'm afraid that this is a gamble in which we could stand to lose both of them and not have an opportunity then to recoup and try again for another year. So while I strongly understand the need for this capital referendum, my preference would be that we take care of business in April with the operating referendum, make it extremely clear to people that if successful, we are coming back to them to ask for $87 million in the fall, so that there's no misunderstanding, but that we show that our priority is that operating referendum and that it stands alone in April.
So before we move forward, and thank you for that, so in talking with WASB legal team, I do have a potential motion here that I'm just going to read so that the board can hear it. And it would be to move to have a capital referendum on the November 5th, 2024 election ballot, pending the outcome of a successful operation referendum on the April 2nd, 2024 election ballot. That's what WASB came up with, and I think I could support that. That shows that we have a successful operation referendum. We don't have to cut $3.8 million or completely drain our fund balance to keep things operational in order to have a facilities referendum. So I guess for me, I can get behind that, because then I know that we're 100% going towards our operations referendum, and on April 3rd we start pushing towards a facilities referendum as well. So that's an idea. Go ahead, Mr.
If I may,
Russ.
in addition to the WASB, legal advice, this would be more of a statement. It's nothing binding. As I stated earlier, nothing's binded until we have that resolution on file with the DPI, which requires board action. So this would be more of a statement saying that we understand that we have needs, but the operation is number one in the board's minds, and just to make a statement that we plan on coming in the fall. So it's it's not binding. It's until that resolution gets passed. It's more of a statement saying that.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Burns Gilbert. I'll come back to you.
No, I just said thanks for clarifying, because that was my question of if we have to decide if the capital referendum needs to be on the November ballot now, or if we can just decide if it's on the April or not now, pending the outcome. But I think the way you read that WASB statement and then that clarification was helpful. Thank you.
WASB said we could do it, and that's what it would look like. But once again, it's non-binding. It's more of a statement that we're moving. The plan is to move in November. Doesn't mean that it binds the board to do that, but it's a statement.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Lopez.
Mr. Schulze, I have a question for you, if that's all right. In a comment, I think that could be very valuable because it is very transparent to the community. It's literally saying, if this operating referendum passes, that's our next step. But does that become part of the operating referendum ballot language? Or is this just a statement completely separate
It's
from
completely separate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the resolution would only be
The resolution.
assuming that there'll be two questions. There'll be one for operating, and then the second question will be capital if the board decides to do that. So we won't mix in between.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, where's my question? Oh, that was easy. Yeah. All right.
Got it.
Thanks, Sam. Any further questions or comments from board members?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mr. Wells.
I mean, I think we're having cold feet here. I mean, we spent years portraying the exact same message over and over again, and that message has been reflected in the survey. And the only reason why we're frankly doing $750,000 on the operating side is because we wanted to reflect the survey. So I'm kind of seeing mixed messages here in terms of what we value and what we need to do versus want to do in an individual sense. I mean, we know what needs to be done for our kids, right? And I think it's crazy that we're ignoring all the messaging that we've said to the community. Because I mean, even though this resolution's transparent, as much as we want to scream it through the rooftops, how many people are going to hear it? Everyone got a survey in their mailbox, right? I mean, in my perspective, and as much as I'd hate it, we know what our survey says. We know what the results are, and we know what's more risky versus not. And frankly, the state gives us a certain amount of tools, and we use those tools to make our district the best that we could possibly be. I frankly know it's stupid to close down the school the same year that we build a football field or dig holes in the ground at the same time we make cuts, but those are the tools that are presented to us. People understand, frankly, brick and mortar, windows and all that better than anything else. And my fear is that if we have both fail, or if we have operating on the front end, even though we value it more as a board, if we have it on the front end, I fear that we make the risk of losing both. I mean, if the DPI gives me the only tool that we have to frankly help our kids, I'd use it even if it personally hurt me. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you for that, Mr. Wells. Any other discussion or comments from board members at this time? Go ahead, Mr. McKenna.
I said too much at the committee meeting, so I wasn't going to say anything, but I really appreciate your perspective, Todd. And I agree. We are listening, I am listening to portions of the survey. I like your analogy of tools. I can tell you I work with people all day, every day, who use their tools much differently than I would. Not every district, we're all given the same tools. Not every district has the same community. Not every district has the same support. We are building that. We're trying to get to that 7.5 that the school perceptions person was saying. I don't think we're there. We're at 5.08. I'm not saying I don't want an operating referendum. I don't think any of us are. Or a facilities referendum. I think the problem I have is the mixed messaging between the two and being able to be extremely transparent is going to be really, really confusing with where our community is right now. I mean, we have people who watch our meetings for 0.6 minutes. They have no idea. I don't want to confuse that message. I want two very clear, defined messages that are brought at two very clear, defined times. Personally, I value operating first. I would like to see that pass first. I would like to give all my messaging, all our clarity, all our resources to that. When that box is checked, I'm ready to move on and do the same thing a second time.
Thank you for that, Mr. McKenna. Any further comments or discussion from board members at this time?
I can add some.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Burns Gilbert.
Thanks. Yeah, I think similar themes, so I'll keep it short and not repeat. But I do think that the risk we run by running them both at the same time, that risk is greater than waiting 6 months for the facilities, especially knowing that, you know, some of our more urgent facilities issues, right, like the roof at the high school, for example, still wouldn't necessarily be solved until a few years down the road, right, once that timeline plays out, which, by the way, again, those slides were super helpful to review this week with the why now and those timelines, so thank you. So I think, to me, that makes a lot of sense to separate them because of those priorities, because also because of our district's done a great job with facilities, right, throughout the years. To me, if this whole thing, not the whole thing, right, because our community got support for 87 million, but if this passes, or when this passes, hopefully down the road or whenever, we might not need another capital project for 60 plus years, right? And so I guess, to me, when I see that dual message, or I see those community, especially with the next topic later on in the agenda of possible focus areas of community engagement, like I think by having us filter in and have that very clear direction from, you know, this moment moving forward, right, we can articulate that to the stakeholders, and then that will, in theory, increase those chances for both operating as a standalone and then the facilities, which, you know, folks are able to wrap their heads around that a little bit more with that more tangible stuff, right, brick and mortar. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the route that I would go at this stage. I do know also, though, like, part of the reason why that direction is appealing is because we won't get all of those, what was it, $140, $150 million projects in. And some of those are really, really also high priority needs, right? For our students, for our community, some of the impact that our programs are having, and to set them up for success after graduation. So I also don't necessarily see a problem with delaying 6 months to make sure that we get a solid foundation to then also possibly build the long-term capital engagement plan, merge it with our facilities, our long-term facilities plan, to really kind of map that out. What's that going to look like over the next 5 or 10 or 15, maybe longer years, so that we can include the community in every step of the way. So that's where I'm at. I think that the issues that definitely were risen, less buying power, right? I think some of those pieces come into play. I'm a little uneasy with the asking, 54 cents in April versus $1.66, I think is what it would be in November. So some of those are causing me to hesitate, but I also feel a little bit better with this route because the facilities referendum did test positively with the community, right? It was 54, I think, %. So it was more warmly received to the community than the operating would rather, have more time to really show those needs and articulate, how much safer Southside is going to be, how much safer Meadowview is going to be, right? Like those are very clear needs. And in addition to all the red things, right? We don't want our people having to climb up in ceilings because of the sewer pipe burst again. We got to fix some of that stuff. And I hope that by separating, we communicate the importance of the operating, but also then set us up for not only that 87 million, but how can we engage for the long term too? So.
Thank you for that, Mr. Brinsgilbert. Yeah, and I bounced around a little bit too this week. I was thinking if we were going to push to November, if we could increase it to 97 million, because we did have other priority areas, but given the fact that our survey said what it said, 87 million is the need, right? And so when thinking about the fact that our district has specific needs, we need at a minimum 750,000, and that's still not covering it, given the fact that we need to jump into fund balance, but we need $87 million in improvements to get just the red aspects of our district under control and where they have to get. When we break down those needs, to me though, operating is where it's at for me. We got to take care of our staff. It's just, in my eyes, that is the number one need. When I know our staff is taken care of, then I feel comfortable moving to our facilities. And so that's why I think from my standpoint, I feel comfortable making sure our staff is aware that in April we do operating, in November we go facilities.
I guess.
Go ahead, Bert.
Go ahead, Colin.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I just had a quick question, and I don't know if this is how to ask this, but if our folks from Bray or Market and Johnson, would delaying this till November impact that partnership at all? Would that still be on your radars too, to continue collaboration? That, to me, that was also a factor.
They're heading up to the microphone right now. If you just want to make sure there's a green light there, gentlemen, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can't speak for Bray, but no, it's not going to impact our partnership at all. I do think, and it's, can I ask more or answer more one question?
You're welcome to, yeah.
Okay, so if you guys are concerned about operating, which I don't envy the position you guys are in, it's a tough decision, right? You should really have a discussion on tying for sure, hey, we're going in November, even if it's unofficial, because in the community, you still have that perception that if I vote for it, for the operating, then I'm almost kind of guaranteeing that you're going to come back. So that might be reason to not vote for the operating. So if you guys are committed to the operating in April, you might want to just focus on the operating in April and have that consensus amongst you guys, but don't make it a formal motion. Does that make sense?
Well, we already did that. Yeah, so that was...
No, but I'm saying that the next one, the WASB just gave you. Because if I was a community member that was in support of operations but not the referendum, and I'm listening to you guys say, oh, if I pass the referendum, I know they're coming in April, that might be enough reason to not vote for the operating one, because I don't want the referendum in November. Does that make sense? Yep. So if you're focused on operation, which it sounds like, and that's the right choice for you guys, then I would focus on operations and go all in on that and come back at the right time for the facility referendum, whether it be November or whatever.
Well, I guess
it's just up to the conversation.
I'm surprised by that, because I guess the focus for me was I want our staff and community to know that I want our staff to know that we're going to go for both. So,
yeah, I guess just the thought or the feeling is the perception that you're sort of locking yourself in, right? Again, I don't think the needs are going to change. I don't think the dollar amount that we're going to go, obviously, like we've talked about, the inflation costs go up. We might have to look at ways to pare back to make the 87 work, or we'd have to talk about a higher number to respond to whatever the world does between now and then and inflation happens. But again, I don't know that there's a need for you to necessarily make a specific resolution that that's going to happen. I think it's something we can communicate that that's the board's intent, or that may be something that's coming. But I don't want to go against what WASB has instructed you as well. I just don't know that or you're tabling it for now or whatever. But I don't know that a specific worded resolution is necessarily needed by you guys to say you're going to come back necessarily. You're just essentially tabling the discussion for now. And also, we're not going away either. And we've even kind of talked. Our company and I think Market as well. We've supported districts in operational pursuits without a capital referendum. La Crosse School District, we were unfortunately unsuccessful with their capital high school. We then supported them with the operational that was successful the following sequence, and it was only an operational. So again, we've kind of talked basically with the district about that we can assist you with that process.
Sam,
Thank you.
when would we have to make a formal decision, formal resolution to have a facilities referendum on the ballot in November?
We would look to have January 8th as our next meeting, but I believe we could go later than that if needed, but I don't like pushing deadlines.
You don't have to make a resolution on capital on November until August.
No, that's different, but no, for April.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's January 20th, roughly. I think it's actually the 23rd. I always say the 20th.
Something
For April.
For
Correct,
April, yes.
correct.
So is it possible to make a resolution for facilities after April 3rd that would go on the ballot for November?
Then your due date for that is August.
Is August, that's August, yeah.
So again, you kind of have plenty of time. There is time there to consider, to revise, to make sure that what you're going forward with in November is well thought of and reconsidered. That's why again, I don't know there's any need now necessarily to say this is what we're going to do in November. We can table it and say we're not pursuing it for April, but I don't know that there's a formal resolution you really need to carry out now saying you're going to go in November.
It would be a board action, as I stated earlier. I hope it would just be a statement. It would not be any, because we don't go until, we passed the board just acted on a 2-year $750,000 referendum. That's not officially official until we make a formal resolution and we ship it to the DPI. The same would be for if we would go in November. That would happen in August time. So what I believe Market and Bray are saying is that no action is needed on this item at all if the board doesn't want to go to. There might be some things like, well, I know you're coming in April, pending that, I'm going to vote no to make sure that doesn't happen either. So that's their kind of perspective to go with that. So once again, it's WASB said we could do this, but it's more of a statement that we could do it. Is it needed? Nothing's needed until in referendum world, until that resolution.
If I may, I appreciate that perspective. That wasn't something that I would have thought of in a million years. However, I still strongly believe that when people go to the ballot in April, they need to understand that if it's successful, we're coming back, because I don't want them to be surprised by that, thinking I voted yes and now we're done, and suddenly we're not done. So if it's not a resolution, if it's not a statement, if it's whatever it is, it still, in my opinion, needs to be communicated somehow that this is our long-range plan.
Well, and I think that's where I'm coming from. I think that's why I'm kind of miffed right now. We talk about transparency. I'm trying to be as transparent as we possibly can right now. And if I want our community, I want our staff to know, the plan is we focus on you as a staff, we focus on our operations, and then we're going to come back. We're going to get our facilities taken care of. That's the goal. Let's band together. Let's be a community and let's get this done. And I don't want to say that we're not that there's a lack of transparency, but I feel like there's a disconnect if we don't communicate that. That's my concern.
And I guess for me, I did think about that piece of basically that could be presented from, if there's another no group that pops up, right? Of, well, if you vote no here, then we'll save money, and then we do the referendum again or operating again in November, right? But I also, there's going to be 10 to 20% of our community probably that will vote no regardless, right? Like from the survey, I don't know if y'all read through the comments and stuff, right? There's people that, so I feel like that piece of setting them both up for success to pass separately to me is still, we can make some headway in some of those, undecideds and perspectives through the community engagement between now and November would be my hope, right?
Yeah. Any further comments from board members? Go ahead, Ms. Lopez.
So I'll be completely honest, and the perspective that you shared with how the community might perceive a statement like this was where my brain went first as well. But then I thought, exactly as Mr. Hendricks said, we do need to pursue a capital referendum if the operating referendum passes. And if the operating referendum does not pass, I would assume that we would be coming back to the community in November for an operating referendum. So I think that sharing this, whether it's a statement or not, does tell our community that this is really where we're coming from. We will always have some people who will vote for every referendum that the school district moves to put in place. And there are some community members who will always vote against, regardless of the need. And to be 100% honest, my brain is not going to either of those groups right now. My brain is going to the remaining, whatever percentage it is, those who sometimes do and sometimes don't, those who maybe vote on a whim, or maybe those who really research and try to figure out what the needs are and the message that we're trying to communicate right now. And maybe I'm a dreamer, but I want this operating referendum to pass by more than 51%. But then when we come back, I want our community to see that we as a board are caring for them, are aware of the impact that we are making on their taxes, on their bottom line, on their dollars, on their pocketbooks, and that we can continue to build trust and a relationship with them, so that when we come to the capital referendum, it's not a 50-50 split or a 54. I would love, this is where I'm dreaming, I would love for the community to really rally behind our school district. And I appreciate what Mr. McKenna said. I don't remember if it was this last election time or the previous one, but we want Sparta to be a destination district. We want people to come here for our facilities, for our programs, for our staff, for our students. But we have to start by supporting the teachers and the classrooms. And in order to do that, we need that operating referendum to pass. So whether we have a statement about the facilities referendum in the fall or not, we just do need to be completely transparent that we are asking for our needs. We have made cuts. We have considered all options. We are using our savings, and these are the things that the community members have shared with me who were previously opposed to the referendum, that these are the important things to them. We are taking these steps and we are doing the things that they have asked us to do, and we need the community to rally with us as much as possible, as much as they are able, and our kids need it, our community needs it. So thank you for your time, everyone. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Ms. Lopez. Mr. McKenna, go ahead.
I move to have a capital referendum on November 5th, 2024, pending the outcome of a successful operational referendum on April 2nd, 2024.
I have a motion from Mr. McKenna. Do I have a second? A second from Mr. Hendricks. Any further discussion or comments on this? Roll call.
Mr. Wells,
Present.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Mr. Shozy,
Yes.
Ms. Behrens,
Yes.
Mr. Burns Gilbert,
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks. Yes. Ms. Lopez.
Yes.
Motion 6-0, one present. Item 4C, discussion and possible action to approve the Board of Education and Administration's priority focus area of community engagement through, in no particular order, staff retention, local business relationships, all-day pre-K, success in co-curriculars, and open enrollment. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys. This is coming out of the workshop, and then through the committee of the whole. This is, we talked about priority or focus area, so the board and administration can focus on, and I don't have any other slides other than this information right here. So, open for discussion.
Any questions or comments from board members? Ms. Lopez, go ahead.
Thank you very much. So I was wondering if the board would perhaps be agreeable to put these in some type of order. Are we able to decide perhaps that open enrollment and success in co-curriculars and staff retention? I mean, just some order to give administration guidance in that way. Also, Mr. Russ, I have a question for you, and that is on these will be committees that are formed, and if that's correct, these committees will be made up of staff members, community members, not affiliated with the district, the whole gamut. Is that correct?
So yeah, I would look to have these formed being subcommittees off of that, and we could probably have a discussion, maybe a workshop about the best way to go about these to give some direction to that as well. But yes, it could be a variety. You know, when you look at success in co-curricular, that may look differently with our stakeholders than all-day pre-K, for example. So we just have to, in administration, this would guide administration to make sure that we have our stakeholders there the best we can. But I agree, you know, prioritizing the best you can would help us out. Open enrollment, obviously the window's coming up in February. All-day pre-K, that might be a little bit longer out with that. So local business partnerships or relationships would be real quick. Staff retention, success in co-curricular, we've already made some strides there. So, but I think putting a priority might be good, or we deviate and we start to have subdivisions and subcommittees of these right away.
I guess I would ask maybe that Mr. Russ and his directors break down what they would prioritize. Like, I think these should be our priority areas as a board, and let them decide where they go from there. I'd be okay with that, because these are the priority areas for me, and I don't necessarily want to. If I was going to prioritize, I guess number one would be staff retention, but then all the rest of them could be number two for me. So for me, I guess I would just prefer that him and administration make that decision. But that's just my opinion. I'm open to other ideas. Go ahead, Mr. Hendricks.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about putting them in some order of priority. My interest would be in knowing what we will consider to be success or improvement in those areas. And so that I know what we're shooting for and how we're going to measure success. I'd like the idea that perhaps there would be work groups for each of those, and I would suggest that if there are work groups for each of those, that there be board involvement based on, you know, areas of interest. Maybe you could ask us and poll us and that kind of thing.
Good ideas, yeah. Other questions or comments from board members?
I would say that since these are board driven, they are subject to open meetings, and we will post and all those things as well.
All right.
To approve these priority focus areas.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Hendricks. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. McKenna. Do I have any further discussion on this topic? Roll call.
Mr. Burns-Gilbert,
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Schulze,
Yes.
Ms. Behrens.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 4D, discussion and possible action to approve grants and donations. Mr. Russ.
Yes, very excited to bring a number of donations for your approval, over $1,000. Market and Johnson, we had the presentation about the enclosed trailer. We have that, and we got the donation, so that was very generous. And then we have generous donations to the backpack program from the Burdenstead Family Foundation, Sparta Chris Kingram Market, Herman Elementary School PTG, and John and Cheryl LaCourse.
Thank you to all of those, for all of those donations. I'd entertain a motion to approve those.
I make the motion to approve all grants and donations as presented.
A motion from Mr. Wells. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. McKenna. Do I have any further questions or comments on this? Roll call.
Mr. Hendricks? Yes. Ms. Lopez?
Yes.
Ms. Behrens?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Burns-Gilbert?
Yes.
Mr. Schulze?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
And I'd like to, we have a lot of other ones that are just for information only. I'm going to break them down in a couple different areas. First off, for robotics, Dahl Automotive, Morrow Home Community Center, Matthews Archery, and Multi-Stack gave very generous donations to robotics. And then for to sales and tools for schools, we have Dependable Solutions, Riverbank, Schultz and Associates, in the Board Store. And the following are to the backpack program. Sparta Chris Mark again, David Burnett and Mary Kaufman, Sparta Culvers, Kiwanis of Sparta, Monroe County Title, Whiskey Creek Family RV Park, Adam and Katie Van Schlunt, Matthew Archery, Once Upon a Sheep, S&S Food, National Honor Society, Covera Insurance Services, Michael and Beverly Donahue, Ellen Hemstock, BWM Nursdorfer, John and Ann Perel, United Methodist Women, Fred and Mary Von Ruden, Rita Wanlus, Joy Circle Trinity Church, Frederick Green, William and Mary Herman, Betsy King, and Gary and Donna Peterson. And for school supplies, non-monetary, Methodist Church, Sparta Chiropractic Clinic, Sparta Lions Club, Walgreens, Monroe County Area Retired Education Association, and Angie Frost. And for hats and mittens for our kids, Saks. So very thankful for the very generous donations from our community, especially during a time of giving.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Now, Sam, on my slide there, it says for approval non-monetary. Do we have to do a motion on that one as well?
They're less than, it should be non-monetary,
I just wanted
under
to
1,000.
make,
Yep,
that's
sorry
what I
about that.
thought, so,
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you. Item 5A, announcements and information. Mr. Russ.
All right. I'm going backwards. Sorry. Wonder what was happening there. All right. I got to move up one. All right. SASD news. A lot of positives. Once again, we have coming to the concert season and coming to the wrapping up of our basically our 2023 year. A lot of excitement, a lot of holiday joy and spirit, and really focusing on giving during this time of year. And I said it last time, and I reinforced with our staff, really focusing in on understanding and being really understanding of not of our children come from the same homes that we do. So really understanding, being very compassionate, and understanding that Friday is a very excited time for a lot of our kids, but a lot of our kids, it's a time of for the next week plus, not having that structure and not having their teachers there looking after them all the time. So it's a very exciting time, but we also understand it's a very trying time for some of our families, and the generous donations that come through our district really try to help that the best they can. So, but very exciting and getting ready for a wonderful 2024. The upcoming board meetings, January 8th, is the committee of the whole, and we will plan on having a special meeting on that one as well for the resolution for the 750 over 2 years. The convention, the 16th through the 19th, that's already posted, so we're going to go to that. And then we have the full board, committee of the whole, and full board in February.
Thank you for that, Mr. Russ. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Don't all jump up.
So moved.
I will, but I
Motion for Mr. McKenna. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second for Ms. Lopez. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.